All right, so welcome back to Dapp University. Looks like we're live here. So today we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. A lot's happened since our live stream that we did yesterday, and the first thing that we're going to look at that I'm sure is on top of everybody's mind is what's going on with the cryptocurrency markets this morning. The real news of the day, in my opinion, is what's going on with the ETH price for sure. ETH looks like it's trying to test a new all-time high. And I personally think that we're ready for an explosive move upward. All right. I'm going to talk about why I think about that. I don't do a lot of like price forecasting predictions on this channel, but I feel pretty confident about this. And that's what I'm going to talk about at the beginning of this video today. So before we get into that, if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to become a blockchain master step by step, start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, so we got a lot of people jumping in the chat here. So we got, let's see here, Perosi, Lidek, Cigar, Culture Highs. Awesome. Welcome. Very cool. So let's go ahead and jump into the first item today, which to me is really the big piece of news, which is what's going on with the cryptocurrency prices. Okay. Somebody says, yeah, last week everybody is saying ETH is dead. So I'll give you a little hint. You have to understand the psychology of the cryptocurrency markets. So I don't want to say this like financial advice that you should always be doing this systematically, but typically, like sometimes the best opportunities when people are scared of everything. I mean, the best time to buy cryptocurrency in the past, 18 months, basically was last March when we saw the major market crash. Everybody's too scared to buy anything. Like that was a maximum point of financial opportunity. The same type of thing, like last week when we saw all this ETH FUD going around, that may have been the best time to accumulate ETH for the next, kind of several months. So let's go ahead and just check in on the prices here. So yeah, ETH is really getting close to a new all-time high. And like I said, I don't make a ton of like forecasting predictions about what I think is going to happen in terms of, the next short while, but I will make a kind of a broad prediction. I have an official price prediction, but I think that ETH is due for probably some sort of explosive move upward. I don't necessarily think that it's going to like necessarily double in price really quickly. It very well could, but I do think we're ready for a jolt upward at some point soon. And that's just how I think about these markets. Okay, I try to look at these things in really big pictures. I try to look at history, how do certain assets tend to move. I watch ETH a lot. So ETH kind of does this, right? It makes these kind of big jumps. You can see this on the chart here. I've just got the line chart on CoinGecko pulled up. Nothing fancy for sure. You see these big jumps, right? It's very volatile. It's more volatile than Bitcoin is. And so it makes these explosive movements. And it kind of gets boring for a while, and then it jumps. It gets boring for a while, then it jumps. So you can see, like I said, I'm not a big trader, not a big TA guy, but I can see really basic patterns, especially from a TA perspective, and just tell you like why I think certain things. So I talked about this yesterday, but like you see this, where we had an all-time high, had a low, and then it tried it again and got, kind of lost all momentum. Then it made a higher low, and then here we're kind of breaking past this all-time high. So, you have to combine some of these insights with other factors, like what's going on. Of course, you can see the volume kind of dropping a little bit here, but you have to combine these insights with what else is going on in the market. Part of the reason I think this is because just the overall market psychology. Somebody mentioned in the chat a minute ago, people thought that ETH was dead just a few days ago, right? Sometimes that's a really good sign that there's a big opportunity on the table. I'm not saying that you should always do that. And also, everything I'm saying right now is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to buy ETH ahead of this time. Full disclaimer, not financial advice. You could lose money on this. But I'm just telling you kind of how I personally think about this. So anyways, yeah, sometimes like when people are too scared or something, or they think it's over, that's like one of the big opportunities on the table. So anyways, but I do see a lot of momentum moving forward for this type of stuff. I think that the overall cryptocurrency markets in general, I think people are kind of ready for what's next. So those are the reasons that I think that we're ready for the next leg up. And that, ETH will probably break this all-time high pretty soon. I don't know exactly what's going to do after that, but we'll probably see a sharp move upward. I don't know by how much, but again, that's just how I think about things. I don't think about it in really specific terms about it's going to be this price by this date. I just try to think about, really broad brushstrokes what's likely to happen from a general perspective. And I think that's probably what's going to happen. So, like I said, as always, not financial advice. Don't get mad at me if you buy and things don't quite work out. But that's how I feel about it. So let's look at some other crypto markets. Like I said, everything's pretty correlated right now. Let's look at Bitcoin. Because also you have to think about this in terms of sentiment. Like, I watch social media quite a bit. Of course, I just try to look at the updates so that I can help make these videos. And, you get a good idea of what the sentiment for the crypto markets are from people on social media. That's one way to look at it. You can watch other YouTubers, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think the overall sentiment is people are ready for the next thing. So it's not just this social media world. Because if you just watch, YouTube, you just watch Twitter or get on Twitter and you just watch the cryptocurrency markets, those aren't like all the people that are participating in the cryptocurrency markets, right? It's way, way, way bigger than that. Of course, like, YouTubers and influencers, all that kind of stuff can have, strong influence on, smaller cap cryptocurrencies, maybe to some degree what's happening with like Bitcoin and larger caps, et cetera, et cetera. But it's not really enough to like, totally influence the market at these price levels. So I think about who else is in here. We're starting to see other stuff that's going to help outside money flow into the space, which is important for these next legs up, this next leg upward. And so we got a story yesterday that Morgan Stanley files to add Bitcoin exposure across a dozen institutional funds. Okay, so this is pretty big. We're talking about more institutional adoption of cryptocurrency. We, of course, talk about people buying cryptocurrency and putting it on their balance sheet for their institutions. But now we're talking about actual institutional funds incorporating Bitcoin this way through Morgan Stanley. Okay, so I'm going through the whole story here, but this is big. So like I said, I'm always looking for more signs. Or are more people coming into the space? Are we seeing more adoption? Because those are the things that we need to sustain this momentum forwards. It's not just about looking at the charts, not just looking at the chain analysis. It's looking at, like, do you see other things? What's the sentiment like? Do you see other signs that other people are coming in from the outside? There's a lot of money. Institutions are important because a lot of money is coming in. So another big part is Coinbase. Okay, Coinbase is going to have their IPO. Of course, this came out on April Fool's Day, so I was like, is this real? We've heard about the Coinbase IPO for a while now, but we do have clarity on when that's going to be. So it's on April 14th. This is their direct listing to the stock market. Their symbol is going to be coin, so COIN. They'll be on the NASDAQ. Okay. So if that's something that you're interested in, then go ahead and mark that in your calendar. But the real reason I bring it up is just more attention to crypto. Okay. And there's lots of reasons why the Coinbase IPO is important. But this is just more trying to think about big picture stuff that can have momentum to help push this market forward, and this is just another example. So also in terms of the markets, I put out a video on Monday, and I even mentioned this on my Twitter about Web 3.0 being a potential trend to watch out for, a profitable trend, whether you're trying to build a project in the blockchain space, or you're like looking to invest, et cetera, et cetera. It's not financial advice, but just kind of thinking about this, the blockchain world is taking off like crazy, of course, but within it, there's these smaller trends. So we have DeFi, kind of pop up and get really hot, a lot of attention, especially last year. That was kind of one of the things that kicked off this major bull run, or was a part of that early bull run. We saw, let's see here, NFTs for sure. Anybody who's here now has probably been hearing about NFTs because, they've kind of bubbled up into low-key mainstream popularity, right? So these are smaller trends within the blockchain space, and they've been taking off quite a bit. Now, so that's how it works. Like, you see, we have this overall trend, but then we have these smaller trends that kind of come in and they take center stage for a little while, and then they kind of get saturated, and then a new thing kind of comes in and takes center stage for a while, and they get saturated. So one other trend, we're starting to see other trends come up, like gaming's being really hot right now. We're seeing gaming project kind of take off. But one trend that I think is going to be big, or at least stands a chance to be big, is Web 3.0. I made the video about that on Monday, but I want to bring it up again because in that video I mentioned Filecoin as being a Web 3.0 project, and we did see a lot of interest in Filecoin this past week. Okay, so I put it out on my Twitter. So here, of course, it's kind of cooled off a little bit, right? It kind of, especially within the last day, it cooled off for sure. It's like found like a local top of some kind. But, you know, Filecoin was taking off like crazy. So why do I bring this up? Well, this could be the beginning of, you know, that trend that I'm talking about. So I talked about, hey, you know, I think Web 3.0 is going to be a thing, you know, a trend that pops up. And, you know, that's pretty good timing with the Filecoin action. So we might see other Web3 projects like this. I don't have any recommendations off the top of my head. I'm not trying to like shill coins or anything. I'm just trying to give you kind of insight into the big picture here that I see playing out. And this could be proof positive of what I'm talking about. Okay. I even put it on my Twitter the other day, like, it cracked me up because Filecoin's fully diluted valuation was larger than Bitcoin's market cap from a few months ago. So basically that means that all the Filecoins, if they were, you know, printed into existence or released into existence, that means all the Filecoins would be worth more than Bitcoin was, like, I don't know, in December or something like that. So this is pretty crazy. They got a lot of people's attention. And of course, some people say, well, the fully diluted valuation doesn't matter, and Filecoin's tokenomics are more complicated than that, et cetera, et cetera. But that was cracking me up. So yeah, watch out for Web 3.0 for sure. So somebody says that ETH made an all-time high. Let's just see if that's true. So it depends on what exchange we're talking. We're getting close. I mean, this is CoinGecko's price aggregator, so this averages a lot of different exchanges. I think probably we'll see an all-time high within the next, you know, it could be within minutes, right? It depends on what exchange you're watching on. It's pretty exciting. Like, we're having a little bit of an all-time high watch party here right now. We can come back and check the price here in a minute. Yeah, totally. So another thing is, we keep hearing more and more from Mark Cuban. Okay, he's, you know, if you're into Ethereum, he's kind of become one of the best players on our team in terms of you know, a influential celebrity to talk about ETH. So yesterday we saw Mark Cuban on the front page of CNBC.com. Okay, with the headline, Mark Cuban on his cryptocurrency portfolio. I own a lot of Ethereum because I think it's the closest to a true currency. Okay. So that's pretty crazy. You know, this headline with Mark Cuban, his picture on CNBC.com, talking about his large position in Ethereum. So he breaks it down. It's not the majority of his portfolio, just for clarification. If you look in here, he talks about he owns 60% Bitcoin. So he has more Bitcoin. That's okay. Let's see. Yeah, 30% Ethereum and 10% the rest. But yeah, we talk about Mark Cuban a lot on this channel. You know, super important. Of course, he's a billionaire, very forward-thinking, had a lot of... he was very involved in the early days of the internet and some of his businesses he was working on there. We've seen him make guest appearances on other, you know, Ethereum and DeFi based, you know, podcasts and YouTube channels. So if anybody here is watching is connected to Mark Cuban in any way and he wants to make an appearance on Dapp University, I think everybody else watching this live stream right now would love to see that. So if you want to contact me, my info will probably be down below. All right, so we got some questions here in the chat. Let's see here. Somebody says, do I plan to make a tutorial on how to create a blockchain, not a smart contract from scratch? Probably not, because there's not a ton of demand for it. It's really hard to run your own blockchain network. I thought about doing this a long time ago, and then I realized that not that many people probably want to do it, so I never did. Okay, so let's see. We got more in the chat. So another project that I saw come up was pretty cool. Let's see here. So one thing that's pretty cool. is privacy. Okay, so I think we'll see more in the privacy field on top of ETH, because when you do transactions on top of Ethereum, all the activity right now is public. Okay, so basically, like if you go trade a token on Uniswap, or you send ETH around, to somebody else's wallet, then that transaction for sure is going to be traceable. So you can always see like who sent the money to who. You can see that you were the one that made the transaction on Uniswap, et cetera, et cetera. But I think that privacy will be an increasing theme on top of Ethereum. So basically, like, I think that we've seen projects come up in the space already. All right, so we've seen like Tornado Cash, for example. Tornado Cash is an important project on top of Ethereum. I've had the guys on my channel for sure. So another project I want to talk about right now is Railgun. Okay, so I saw this come up on Twitter. I don't actually know a ton about it, but I'm kind of exploring this. Wanted to bring it up for you all. The Railgun project. Railgun is a privacy smart contract custom built for you to privately trade through a DEX, stake, farm, or lend. So in Railgun, you do not need to use a layer 2. You don't even need any new wallet app. You don't even need to use a special coin. You can use Railgun even only with ETH, and it's all on chain with full Ethereum security. So that's pretty cool. So Railgun includes a number of transaction types. So add transfers, add assets to public address using Railgun, remove transfers, split, adapt. So this is a project that I want to explore more. Like I said, I don't have all the details fully in front of me here, but this is one that you could check out if you're more interested in privacy projects, because I think it serves a really big long-term need on top of ETH. Somebody said that ETH is price is going. So let's go back and take a look. We can kind of turn this into a little bit of an ETH all-time high watch party here. Let's just check. Yeah, 2047. I think that's it. Let's see here. Yep, new all-time high. Awesome. Yeah, we did it. 2042 is the old all-time high, and now the ticker reads 2047 on the price aggregator here on CoinGecko. Awesome. Yep. Yeah, very cool. So who else is excited for a new ETH all-time high? Let me know in the chat down below. Yeah, awesome. Somebody says 2059 on CoinDesk. Yeah, nice. I'm going to see, let's actually pull up the TradingView chart. Maybe I can watch it a little better in real time. So see. So I won't make any. So who thinks, who has predictions for ETH price? What price will ETH hit today? Leave your prediction down in the chat below. Somebody says broke 2060 on Kraken. Somebody thinks it'll be 2400, 2250, 2200. Nice. So I have not giving financial advice. I'm not telling you to buy it or sell based on this information. I'm just watching the price and letting you all kind of duke it out in the chat down below. Nice. Somebody says $3,000 today. That'd be nice. I would like to see that. Yeah, so at 2055 here on TradingView. 2053 here on CoinGecko. Yeah, I think we're right, everybody. I think people are hungry for that ETH. Somebody says pop some bottles. I'll just take a drink of my cool, clear water here. All right, so let's go ahead and move into some Q&A here. So go ahead and drop your questions in the chat. And everybody's blowing up with the ETH price right now. So If we see any more questions, I'll go ahead and try to answer some of those right now. So I do think this is pretty crazy, though. And I'm going back to this while people are, pulling their chats in. But I think this is pretty nuts about Mark Cuban talking about this on the homepage of CNBC. So somebody says, ETH my favorite coin. So ETH is the largest position in my portfolio. I've talked about that a lot on this channel, transparent. So why is that the case? So basically, I've worked with Ethereum daily since 2017. So I'm around the technology all the time. I see the crazy innovation and adoption that's happening in the Ethereum ecosystem, up close and personal. So I am a big believer in ETH long term. I see all the innovation happening. I see the advances in ETH. So that's one of the reasons I hold it mostly. All right, and also part of it also is when I was buying. So like I was buying ETH when it was really, 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 really cheap compared to what it is today. And at those price levels, I saw way more upside than something like Bitcoin, and way more. Like it was a way surer bet in the longevity of the tech compared to everything else out there. So a lot of the L2s, a lot of the other layer ones, people kind of like, are super excited about, or the ETH killers, et cetera. Like, it was not even close to innovation that was happening on top of Ethereum, especially when I was accumulating and buying in. We've had smart contracts on Ethereum for 5 years, basically. So yeah, we've had a long time to build up the momentum, that developer community, all that kind of stuff. So that's another reason that I am big on ETH. It's just because I watch it all the time. I do hold Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's great. I do hold some other DeFi projects because I was early to those too. I watched DeFi sprout from the ground out, like a little seed that sprouted and turned into this tiny plant, and now it's this giant tree. So I was accumulating DeFi projects pretty early too, like Aave and Synthetics, because they were some of the two first DeFi projects that were really like growing at the beginning of this bull run. I don't have any advice on chilies. Somebody says, always grinding for the community, return the face, smash the like now. Yeah, please smash that like. That helps these videos out a lot. Somebody says, will Polygon go up with ETH after Optimism not being ready? So I don't know what's going to happen with Polygon, with their token price or anything like that. But I did talk about yesterday how, Aave is working with Polygon on layer 2 scaling. Well, not necessarily layer 2, but just scaling solutions now for Ethereum, because they're particularly talking about sidechains is what I was saying. So I saw this yesterday. I'll recap in case anybody missed the live stream. So, of course, layer 2 scaling is all about what's happening with Ethereum right now. People talking about being too slow, too expensive. Basically, like, people say nobody's going to use Ethereum because it costs too much. So that's what scaling is for. So there are different ways to scale. You can build a second layer on top of Ethereum where you can do those transactions and settle the result. You can do it on side chains, et cetera, et cetera. So we saw that with Polygon here. We saw it with Optimism. Of course, the Optimism project, the one that I was super excited about, got delayed. We talked about that a ton of these streams. But here we see Aave, which is one of the most popular dApps on top of Ethereum right now. It's the one I was talking about a minute ago. Using Polygon and starting with that like now, basically. So this is a good question. Somebody says, when do you think one would be considered ready to apply for projects in the blockchain space? This person's name is Crypto Dev, so I'm assuming you're a developer. So my advice is basically build, depends on what your development experience is, but this applies pretty much anybody. It's go build an unguided project, not a tutorial, where you try to build something for real, code it out start to finish, get it ready for a portfolio, open source it on GitHub, get a resume together, and then apply immediately. You might get rejected, but the good news is you'll find out what you need to work on, and then you can go back to the drawing board and work on that and then apply again. I almost always recommend people apply for jobs sooner, because what you don't want to do is go work on the wrong thing for like a year, and then you find out that then you have to go back and learn a bunch of other stuff. Okay, so let's see here. Somebody says 2065 on CoinMarketCap. That's awesome. Somebody says Mark Cuban on Dapp University. Yes, I would love to see that. Somebody says, I'm interested in a direct relation between Ethereum and Solana and why a new app would use Solana over Ethereum. That's a good question. I don't know why somebody would use Solana over Ethereum right now. I'm not saying it never would, but I don't know why right now they would do that. Let's see, any chance ETH can surpass BTC one day? It could. It very well could. In terms of market cap, that's what people are asking. Is could we see Ethereum become the #1 coin on something like CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko? So see this here. I think it's possible. Okay, I mean, this is people think that's absolutely impossible. It's never going to happen because Bitcoin is such a big cryptocurrency, such a household name. I mean, I think it's possible. Okay, Ethereum is it would have to basically 5x in market cap in order to match Bitcoin's current market cap. But those things they could happen simply because of everything you do with Ethereum. Because I talk about this a lot on my channel where, people get exposure to Ethereum different ways. So you see like, I'll show you why. Okay. I'll show you an example right here. So you see it this way, like, BTC, ETH, So basically they get on a website like CoinGecko, they look at the cryptocurrencies, they see Bitcoin first, and then they say, oh, here's this ETH thing, right? What is that? And they kind of go down the ETH rabbit hole. Maybe they buy some, or the popular investment strategy is to buy, equal shares of Bitcoin and Ethereum, or maybe like weight it a little bit differently. But, always have exposure to Ethereum, as people say, et cetera, et cetera. That's one way, just through cryptocurrency. But they're going to have access to ETH through so many other things. So think about all the people who heard about NFTs, who never cared about cryptocurrency ever in their entire life. Well, what did that point them back to? Unless they were buying NBA Top Shots or the Kings of Leon album, most people were looking at NFTs on top of Ethereum. So NFTs were a way for people to get exposure to Ethereum. So what about people who are interested in DeFi? Well, most of the DeFi activity in the world is happening on top of Ethereum right now. So they hear about DeFi, that points them toward ETH. So what happens when Web3 gains popularity, which I was talking about earlier? Well, that's probably going to point them back to ETH, right? So there's all these different ways people can get exposure to ETH rather than just looking at cryptocurrency, okay? So this is the type of thing that could cause people to kind of go down that rabbit hole and, really get into ETH rather than just saying, oh, I want to go invest in cryptocurrency. What should I buy? So the fact that people get exposure so many ways, the fact that you can stake ETH, you can't really stake Bitcoin. Of course, you can put it on a service like BlockFi and earn passive income that way, but you can stake ETH natively on the network. You can use it in DeFi. There's so many stuff you can do with it. The fact that ETH monetary policy could make it like deflationary at times when EIP 1559 comes out. Basically, there's lots of that could be a more stronger incentive to hold ETH, something like that, if it becomes a hard, a sound money. So there's lots of reasons why it could potentially be more attractive than Bitcoin. If that happens, and it could flip it. I'm not saying it's going to happen anytime soon. I'm not saying it will for sure happen, but somebody says, do I think it could ever flip Bitcoin? I think it could. All right, so I'll do one more question here. Somebody says, could wrapped Bitcoin overtake Bitcoin? Maybe. Somebody's talking about basically moving Bitcoin to the Ethereum blockchain so they can do stuff with it in DeFi. Somebody says if a Dapp that uses its own Ethereum cryptocurrency, can I make a pool of transactions to pay people all at once and they share the gas price? So you might be able to do that with L2s, because I think that's what's going to happen with some of these L2 technologies. Is that you're going to see subsidizing gas costs. So there are projects that are doing that right now that are subsidizing, but it may be easier for you, technically speaking, to do it with a layer 2 scaling solution than on the base Ethereum blockchain itself. Somebody says they will personally hand deliver an English muffin to anyone in the United States for 1 Bitcoin. That's awesome. All right, everybody. So that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. It really helps these videos out so more people can learn about blockchain. If you like these videos, you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? You want to get an up-close personal look at Ethereum, how it works. You know, one of the highest paying fields in tech right now is being a blockchain developer. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So you can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there, like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. If you like those, you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely. Actually, I become a blockchain master step by step over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. Again, you don't have to be an expert to get started today. That's all I've got. And until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.